Hi there guys, it's Atten here, and today I'm going to be making a video about the Solar Roadways project. Now, I have been doing a little bit of research on things like glass, asphalt, and production of, materials in general. I've also done a bit of some stuff on science. So, yeah. Basically here, after watching their video and getting an idea of what this project involves, I really hold similar, views to how Thunderfoot feels. Really the problems I've been seeing with this project is, first of all, here with the production of these panels. They've proposed that the United States literally covers every single road they have with these let's just say solar panels. Now, it sounds good in theory, but the problem really is the fact that producing glass is actually very, expensive. It requires large amounts of electrical energy to power furnaces. It requires, lots of, physical work to make glass and all that. So, if you think about how big the United States is, and if you think about how long the roads are, it becomes very, very expensive to pave them all essentially in glass. Now, another problem I see as well is that the fact, you're dealing with glass, really tampered glass as your road surface. Trouble is that this surface needs to have light pass through it, and if you have vehicles going over it day in, day out for several decades, then you're going to wear this surface down, you're going to scratch it, and light is not going to efficiently get through to the actual solar panels built into these tiles. Now, again here, in the video they went and sort of drove a bit of a lawnmower-ish type thing over the actual panels. Now, the thing is that with roadways, you're not dealing with just these little lawnmowers, you're dealing with full-size motor vehicles that are going to go over this road, and, there's going to be lots of them. I don't really get how this project could even really work, because, if you wear this road surface down, things like trucks are going to have a really hard time stopping, and if, it's really just disastrous. If a vehicle can't stop quickly, in, say, an emergency, people are gonna die, and there's no other way to get around that. And unless, really they can invent some sort of form of, glass that doesn't require it being heated up to several thousands of degrees, and I believe that, even some companies that have, been mixing chemicals with, like, the actual glass to actually try and lower the temperature which it melts, even then they can't actually, remove the fact that moving a material from one state to another is very, very difficult. Another problem that I've also seen is that they've proposed making runways out of this stuff, and I'm not kidding here. Now, if you've, looked at many runways here, planes are very, very large. They are very, very heavy, and when they come into land, they are generally going very, very fast, especially in emergencies. So, when planes land, there's a whole lot of screeching of tires, and essentially here, the aircraft is moving from one state to another, and the amount of force exerted on that runway is in the range of hundreds of tons. You're dealing with an aircraft that is carrying extremely heavy cargo, in some cases tanks, and is decelerating from speeds of something like 300 kilometers per hour. Now, the thing is, these aircraft have tremendous kinetic energy, and these panels, these little solar roadway panels, I don't think are necessarily going to be able to handle something like that suddenly deciding to land on them. The structure to hold these panels together would need to be incredibly tough and likely incredibly expensive. you'd probably need something like, steel, and that would be incredibly hard to transport. It would be hard to dig into the ground and build the entire, it's going to be very expensive to make these runways. And I mean, asphalt is probably a better product for this because, for one, in asphalt, you don't have to melt it, and you don't have to, and it's really just a product of the oil industry. So, yeah, I think that the idea of landing planes on this is going to be pretty dangerous, and it may, and again here, you've got to take into account the wear that these things are going to be subjected to. I mean, we're not talking about trucks here, we're talking about aircraft. They will rip this, I think that, they're really going to rip these little panels to absolute shit. The next point I'm going to be moving on to is the one where they're thinking about trying to melt snow with these panels, which is really just preposterous. The reason being is because, when you try to move a car up a hill by pushing it, it takes a lot of energy to move an object or a thing from one state to another. Water has three states: a solid state, a liquid state, and of course a gas state being steam. Moving water from a solid state to a liquid, it's going to require tremendous amounts of energy. And if you have those panels covered in snow, and if you're in a region where there's not a lot of sun, it's going to take a lot of energy to do that. In a kettle, you need something like 2.4 kilowatts of energy to heat up water. We're dealing with roadways. They can be very, very long, and we're going to be talking about many thousands of liters of water. Now, doing this is going to take tremendous energy, and I don't think these little panels are going to have the power to do it. Now, I'm not dissing solar energy. I do actually believe it is a positive thing to have solar energy in our country, and it's a good thing to have a sustainable, clean energy source. But to put it this way here, I don't think that some panels will have the capacity to heat up thousands of liters of water and turn it into a liquid or even a gas. That is something that really just, you can't, unless you have panels that can magically somehow, draw energy directly from the sun or whatever. Well, that's stupid. If you have panels that, are on, say, on the surface of the sun, taking in light, you can, boil thousands of liters of water, but it really doesn't seem to be, possible, to, with that amount of energy from those panels to, change the state of so much water. To me, it's just not going to happen. You need more energy than what those panels can produce to turn that ice into, well, water. Alright, I'm going to move on to the next point. In the video, they've proposed using these panels to actually light up all of the roadways. They've proposed using these solar panels to run day and night to mark out, the lines on highways. The problem that I see here is that running LEDs day in, day out requires, again, humongous amounts of energy. You'd literally probably see this from space. Again, I just think here that it's going to require, you're just talking about numbers that are just ridiculous when you're talking about the energy it would be to, run all of these LEDs, on all the highways in America. Now, to put it this way, during the night, the amount of energy that you're talking about to run these LEDs would be within the bloody terawatt range to actually run every single one of these LEDs on the roads. I mean, in Australia and virtually every first world country with roads, we paint them. We do this because it's energy efficient. You don't need to constantly run LEDs to, it's really like it is with speed signs. We don't run LEDs constantly to display the same speed all of the time. Now, where I live, there's actually a hill where, the lanes do actually change all the traffic and all that, so, during the morning people can get to work and during the night people can get home. I mean, like, it's appropriate to have LED signs then, but in many cases here, we're talking about highways that never changed. Like, you're not gonna see lanes just shut off, like, very often. Like, to put it this way here, running these LEDs all of the time and on roads that are not likely to change at all is going to be incredibly expensive. It's probably going to be within the ranges of, to put it this way, you're probably going to need to build a massive number of power plants to actually run this system if you were to actually adopt it. And these solar panels will not function at night well at all, even if you somehow extract the energy from moonlight, which is, you know, minuscule at best. So it really is dumb to just light up every single road in America, like, because Tron. It's like, it's gonna cost a lot to do, it's inefficient, and it's gonna probably create a fuck ton more pollution than it is putting 2 lights on the front of a car. This point, and this will be the final point, is, you know, running these underground corridors to essentially link these panels and connect them to, you know, the mains and all that to produce, you know, power. In Australia here, the NBN hasn't even really rolled out. We're a first world country. I mean, putting these underground tunnels through all of the United States, through highways and all that, requires the moving of millions or even billions of tons of earth. And to produce these tunnels, it would take millions of tons of concrete. And to move that around would require humongous resources. I'm talking resources probably that we couldn't really, you know, have in the current society we live in. Really, to produce these roads on the scale and the way that these people are suggesting here, and I mean, even ignoring the fact that you need to produce LEDs and microprocessors for these, and maintenance and setting this all up, I mean, it's literally going to be something that you need futuristic technology to actually produce these and put them into the roads. I mean, this is literally something that is just fucking ridiculous. It would require, it's impractical. Like, the ideas these people are coming up with, you know, you can't really melt, you know, 50 metric tons of ice with a fucking candle, and it's just really, from what I'm seeing and hearing here, it's just impractical, and that's really all I gotta say here. I mean, there's a lot of problems with this, and it appears people are just, you know, brushing them off. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any objections, comments, or additions, then feel free to comment below.